Hey everyone, super excited to introduce you to my friend Bill Lyons. His business is called Designable Web, based out of New Jersey, and he's a web marketer, a WordPress guy, and also just super fun to hang out with. So we have been meeting, I want to say, every week for years, just to talk about our businesses, talk shop, talk about AI, whatever's going on in the world. And we decided to record one of those conversations and share it with you. So I hope you enjoy.
So, did I tell you about Google Notebook LM? We were talking about
Yes,
that on one of the meetings,
we
and
talked
you
about
made the
that.
suggestion of adding proposals as the source. Remember, I said it
Yeah.
could have sources. So I did
Hmm.
what you said. I have a folder. I had a folder because I was doing my proposals in Google Docs for a long time
Yes.
before I switched over to Canva. So what I
Mhm.
did was I had a folder with about 20 proposals, and I also went in and uploaded all the PDFs that I made in Canva and put it in that folder too. So I've got 40 of my website proposals to clients for about the last 2 years, I think. And with Google Notebook LM, it uses those as a source. So I went in and I made a prompt where I just told it a client's company name and a few details about the scope of work
Mm,
and asked it for a proposal based on the source material that it had. It spit out a proposal that was 95% of the way
nice.
there. And the
Nice.
amazing thing is that because all those proposals were mine, they were my language, the way I talk and write, and it was repeated often because those proposals, the content's getting cut in and pasted. So the same sentences are there in all the
Hmm.
different proposals, maybe some variations.
Yeah.
But so the exact sentences that I use in my proposal were here in this AI generated one. The only drawback right away
Mm.
was that it was full of what do they call them? Citations, which referred to the documents in the source material,
Ah.
which I don't need. But then I asked it to do it without citations, and it was able to do that.
Hmm.
So the output that I got really out of a 30-second prompt was
Sure.
easily 95% of the way there. And I think refining my prompt might get it 99% of the way there.
Hmm.
So now it takes 5 minutes to create a website development proposal, unless there's something extremely custom that I've got to go in and write myself. But you know what? That'll just be a paragraph or two.
Sure.
So now this task that used to take me 30 to 60 minutes is reduced to 5 minutes.
That's
And
great.
honestly, I think in a way it's kind of more valuable than ChatGPT because you're able to hook up to sources.
Yeah.
You know, I never got anything from ChatGPT that was as close to my voice and writing as I did from Google Notebook LM with my writing as a source material. So I'm
Hmm.
excited about this, and I think lots of businesses probably have documents like this that they've
Hmm.
been storing for years. Now,
Yeah.
if I want to, I can get a list of the most often purchased services, the industries that my clients came from, all of that in seconds would take me hours to do by hand
Hmm.
and get really some insights about my customers, the services they're buying, what kind of industries they're coming from. So much potential is there. And to think of other businesses have this kind of documentation on their client, and it's, their onboarding materials that they get when they have questionnaires or whatever. There's probably a huge amount of business intelligence that can be extracted from that that maybe every business is sitting on right now with documents that they've been storing for years, but now they can use AI to interrogate those documents,
Sure.
that
Yeah.
library of documents, and like produce insights about their business and their customers.
I think it always comes down to the application though and like the use case. So hypothetically, yes, I can do all this stuff. But so the proposals is a great example. It's cool that you could do like a meta study too to be like, how many proposals have included
Right.
X of past year or something like to figure out what your most
Yeah.
popular services or products are really. I guess I could see another one that's coming to mind as you talk about, and I, full disclosure, have not played with Notebook LM. We talked about it. I've intended to, been doing
Right.
other
It's
things,
okay.
but lately I've been having some pain points around my SOPs. I have a team and I have a SOP that kind of talks about how we use Trello for like ticketing, keeping track of client requests. And because we have so many clients and there's a lot of small requests and the small tasks has started to get really complicated.
Right.
So I made an SOP. I did use ChatGPT to help, but the SOP is so freaking long. People aren't 100% using it.
Right.
And so they're asking me questions. I'm trying to refer back to the SOP, but as I'm doing it, I'm like, oh, well, how would you ever have found what you needed? So I wonder, as you're talking, I'm like, what if I put all my SOPs into Notebook LM and then you could ask it questions and then it
Yeah.
would state what SOP it's from. So if anything was confusing or if you wanted more information, you could go straight to that part of the SOP. One
You
of my
can ask it
tasks
to
for this
review the
week,
documents from the perspective of a customer, a client. Are they
exactly.
understandable?
Or yeah, not from the customer side for an SOP, but like
Oh,
for the manager, for example,
right,
or for
right,
somebody who's doing a task.
right. Employee.
Or
Yeah.
the originator, because there are like that was part of what was hard about doing the SOP is there's all these different perspectives of like different people interacting with the system. And I chose to follow the perspective of like the task, actually. Like,
Mhm.
how does the task move through everything?
Right.
But then, yeah, I guess one of my tasks this week was to be like, to create a flow chart from that SOP so that individual agents within
Could
the system
easily,
could
yeah.
follow. But I wonder if Notebook LM would even be able to do that based on the SOPs.
I feel like it's something that over time I'm going to think of new ways to use it,
Mhm.
you know?
Totally.
For
Well,
my
and
business,
everybody is doing that in the world, and then the tools themselves are evolving
right. And
partly
I
in
mean, the thing
response to that.
is, like, all of this could be done by a human, but no one's doing it because of the time involved.
Yeah.
And, may the time involved in that case may not be worth the benefit that you're getting. But with ChatGPT reducing the time involved to just minutes, now suddenly all these possibilities are worth trying, in my
Hmm.
opinion anyway. I mean, I'm thinking this just occurred to me while I was sitting in like this Notebook LM. I mean, if you're creating repetitive style documents for your clients all the time, I think it could work for any type of document. Obviously, there's legalities and security issues involved. You wouldn't want to do this for healthcare clients or have anyone's private information stored on Google Drive and have it going through an LLM. But I'm sure there's plenty of boilerplate type documents and stuff that you could do very easily. And what's so amazing is that it only takes a few minutes to set this up. You get your Google
Mm.
Notebook LM account, and
Yeah.
it took me like a minute to connect that to my Drive folder with all my proposals. And the first prompt that I did got 95% of the way there. So it's doesn't require amount of time to set up. It doesn't require expertise in the
Well,
prompting,
I mean, I'm always the skeptic. You know, you're more embracing AI than I am,
right?
but like it's great when it works on the first try. And I think usually it doesn't end up saving me much time. I think it's a process of me adapting how I do everything to like accommodate this new tool. And over
Right?
time, I think it will save me time. But like when I used it to create my SOP, it took a long time.
Right.
I almost rewrote almost every single thing in it. And so with the proposals, for example, here's a problem that I already see.
Mhm. Okay.
I've got, let's say, the past 20 proposals I've created, but usually as time goes on, I change things, I update things in my language. And some
Mm.
things that I would have said 20 proposals ago, I
Okay.
would
Okay.
not want to include now. So that's fine. It's just that it puts it more on the mental energy of me to really carefully read what AI
Mm.
created because I did not think through all those steps
Right.
during the creation process. And I think there's just chance for more potential, like
Right.
more potential for errors. It's like doing the work versus managing someone
Right.
doing the work. It's
Right.
just, it's way cheaper than paying someone else to do it. That's for sure.
No, I
But
can
you still have
understand
to
that
double
about
check
you
them.
being worried that it's inserting in some
Yeah.
error that you're just not going to see on a quick glance.
But if you hired somebody to do your proposals for you, that would still happen. They
Right.
would still put mistakes in there because they're
And
not your brain, you
yeah,
know?
and I mean, I've just only discovered this tool and tried it out. So the real test is going to be doing this over and over and over
Yes,
again. What's
for
the
sure.
result? I mean, if it's great 90% of the time, that'll be pretty good. It's a lot of time saved. And yeah, I hear you. I think that a lot of people think that AI is easy because they're just letting it spit out the results and they're not doing what you're doing, which is checking it to make
Okay.
sure it's not flat out wrong or saying something in a way that you would never, with words you would never use. You need it to
Right.
communicate the way you do.
Yeah,
So yeah,
somebody
I think you
was
just are smart and you're going back and checking for errors and you're finding them because they're there.
they're there. Yeah, we talked about this before we discovered Notebook LM. But like I was in a work session with someone I didn't really know, and that person and I was kind of complaining like, oh, I hate making proposals because I do find it stressful. And the person was like, do have ChatGPT do it, like blah blah blah, have them. And I
Hmm.
said, well, it's actually like part of the hardest part is really estimating accurately. It's not so much putting the proposal together.
Right.
It's, that part's procedural. And they're like, oh, ask ChatGPT how much. And
Mm.
I was like, if I didn't care, if it did, I did not care what the number was, or I didn't care about accuracy, sure, but then it wouldn't be hard for me to do it.
Well, you
And
know what? Okay, so
like,
you just gave me an idea. I'm sorry, continue, please.
no, but I mean,
Uh,
really, what I could do with Notebook LM to address that situation. And again, it's not going to save me time in the near term, and I have to adjust the way I do things overall to
right.
make this work. But I could feed my data about how long things have taken. Like at the end of a project, I could do a postmortem. I could feed that into my Notebook LM proposal space,
Yes.
and it could give me an estimate backed up with my own data. Does
Yes.
that take work? It takes more work to set that up. But again, it's like you're training an employee who's
Right.
then going to be able to be independent, and you don't have to pay them because it's no big LM until they start charging us who knows what.
Right.
But,
Until they finally decide they don't want to go into $10 billion of debt per year, and then
right,
suddenly ChatGPT Pro costs $500 a month.
right.
Um,
So then
but
we have, instead of the economy of like the labor market, now we have like different SaaS products that are, and it's just,
hmm,
that's another
we'll have a
future we could be having.
SaaS class society, you know, where
I mean,
only the
really.
upper echelon of people get ChatGPT Pro, and the rest of us are like using Grok for free. But you had the same idea that I did. As soon as you said that, it made me think, we're tracking our time. So
Hmm.
what if you took, oh my God, imagine that. So what if we took all of our time tracking documents and then our proposals, and
Hmm.
now we can actually have ChatGPT analyze and come up with an average amount of time that it takes for us to complete each task that is based on data and not us being super optimistic all the time.
Well, but I do it based on data already. And that's what takes me so long is like I have to go back, I have to look at what a similar project took, and then I have to consider things like, did the client take 6 months
Hmm.
off
Hmm.
and we had to restart? Did they have like 12 stakeholders as opposed to one? Like
Right.
there's all these factors of things that can be different from project to project. And so we would need to like we would just need to systematize that instead of
Mm.
having our brains do it. And that would take time. I mean, it
Yeah.
takes time to review the project at the end to really document everything.
Yeah, I mean, that's exciting though.
It is exciting though, isn't it? That's cool.
It makes me wish I'd tracked my time better over the last couple of years because actually lately I've been kind of not that worried about it because I've got things generally figured out, but I'm not tracking things like down to the minute or anything.
Yeah.
Because I feel like now have a pretty good idea of how most stuff takes, and I get the same requests.
Yeah.
So it's rarely difficult for me these days to estimate a project.
Mm.
But really, you could get pretty scientific and granular by analyzing it with GPT, and that sounds super fun.
You're right about the optimism, though. Even if you know how long it's going to take, I am
Yeah,
emotionally prone
yeah,
to being optimistic when I want the job.
yeah.
Um, and then, yeah, looking back afterward, it's a different story.
When I switched over from doing all of my sites custom coded to using, my brain broke on estimating. All of a sudden,
Yes.
all of my projects seemed like they were going to take an hour. Like just compared to writing a PHP template for every single page,
Yes.
spinning something up with a page builders, 10 times faster. I don't know. And yeah, estimating horribly, but now I've gotten a handle on it now that I've been doing it for a while. So yeah, I think in general, people are not good at estimating, even when they think they are.
I mean, we still probably will make emotional decisions because we're the managers of the AI, but at least
Yeah,
when we're faced with the data, and especially when that can be more high quality, like more well documented. And the other thing that's exciting about it is that like for me, is that again, delegating. So if
right,
I'm doing this process, it can be much more easily passed off to somebody
right,
else.
right.
Okay, who was the technical project manager on that project? Let's have them go back through and all of like the last step is inputting all of the for each part
Hmm.
into Notebook LM, and then somebody else can do the proposal for the next job because it's all sources are
Right,
cited. I can just do a quick QA at the end.
right.
Um, I don't know. A lot of that systematization could happen without AI, but
Sure.
it sounds like AI will make it a lot
I mean,
easier eventually.
I am a little bit apprehensive about using AI for creative output, but I'm not at all apprehensive about using AI for like data analysis to look at a large amount of data really quickly. Because from
Yeah.
my experiences, I've had the subscription to Pro since 2020 or whenever it came out. I've never seen it hallucinate or say, make mistakes about data when I give it. So a lot of times in ChatGPT, I will cut and paste something into the prompt and then ask it questions. Now you have the ability to upload documents and make folders for them. Um, but usually when you do that, it's good. It doesn't hallucinate or make up crazy things. It sees your source material and deals with it accurately. So I feel more confident about any task that I'm giving to AI when I give it source data to work from. So for my money, I'm more than willing to let ChatGPT crunch huge amounts of information that I could never be practical for me to do, but could have a practical benefit to doing it. That's exciting. But I don't get excited about artists using AI or even I'm not even really excited about creating LinkedIn posts with AI anymore just because everyone is doing it now. So if write a post that's in sloppy casual language, I feel like I stand out more. It's obvious that I wrote it myself and I'm being authentic.
Well, one thing about that, I mean, I agree with you because one thing about that is art and creative endeavors is one of the fields, one of the places where your unique
Right.
perspective is extremely important to the overall quality and value of the work. And AI could probably, create and develop unique perspectives, but it won't be a human perspective. It'll be like an amalgam of anyway.
Right.
Yeah, it's tough to try to envision, how the world will change.
I just want, I go both sides about AI. So when I see people making these grandiose claims like web developer is going to be gone in 2026 or AI
Yeah.
is going to manage your bank account for you and manage your business. AI is going to be your CEO in 2027. Like that troubles me or annoys me because, I'm worried about the people who aren't as educated and might buy into that and they invest a lot. And then it's like, well, when it comes time for the to hit the road, AI doesn't always deliver what it's promised. And I think promises are being made and proclamations are being made that at the
Yeah.
least are have certain. I mean, yes, some of these may well
Yeah.
come true. AI is going to continue to improve and get better and do amazing things in the near future. But I think that on the safe side, I'd rather use AI for data analysis
Hmm.
than creative output. Because when I tell AI to write an article or create a picture, it's a piece of content that any other person with $20 a month can get
Sure.
out of AI now. But that's
Hmm.
not going to serve me. I need to, my content, my advertising, my brand needs to be something unique to help me stand out, not something gathered from thousands and thousands of people, the average of what they do. That's the exact opposite of how you want to appear online, how you want to appear on social, how you want your brand to be. You want to stand out, and
Yeah.
ChatGPT can't do that by definition.
Right. It's kind of like a feedback loop, like it needs
Right.
new input to,
It's
I
watering
mean,
you down.
yeah. I mean, just to back up a quick second to what you were saying before about people buying into, I think that's normal for like any kind of big shift, like a big new technology, like right, the dot-com boom is what that reminds
Mhm.
me of. Like
Right.
everybody just was like,
Yep.
you need to react. And,
Yeah.
some people won big for sure. But it, you know, there where there's risk,
I think
there's
I think it feels amazing to get on LinkedIn and be like, SEO is dead forever. It feels amazing. Like, man, what a thought leader I am. Just leading. And the thing is that it just rarely turns out well. SEO has been being proclaimed dead since 2003, and it hasn't
yeah.
come true yet. And I think that it isn't going to come true because
Well,
SEO is just going to
yeah.
change its form.
SEO is like that.
There's a technique to showing up in ChatGPT recommendations or Google recommendations, and whatever that is what we're all going to need to do for our businesses.
Hmm. Frozen to the
Okay, then
group
I've got something else
potentially.
for you.
Okay, cool. Let's.
Okay, so my friend Remy Leibovic, the social media manager at RCL Media, gave
Mm.
me a tip the other day. She's a client of mine. I do websites for her. And she gave me an amazing tip for
Mm.
LinkedIn that like I could not sleep just thinking of this.
That's
And
great.
I was also kind of I mean not embarrassed, but like, why didn't I think of this? Because it's there so
Mm.
obviously. So look, on LinkedIn, you can find people who are your best customers, the people who are the type
Sure.
of business, have the needs, have the characteristics of people who tend to become your best customers. You go on LinkedIn, you find them, you click on their profile, scroll
Hmm.
down to their activity, and click the comments button. Now this shows you everything that this person comments on. So there now you
Oh.
have a list. So I've been
Hmm.
struggling for about a year to figure out what the people that I
Yeah.
want digital agencies to pay attention to my posts. And I've been trying to figure out, what do these people respond to on LinkedIn? Well,
Mm.
now I realize I can just go in there into their profiles under activity, click comments, and see exactly what they're responding to. So what I've done, so I took her tip, which I feel like is going to revolutionize my LinkedIn efforts,
Okay.
and I applied it to AI. So what I'm doing, and I just started doing this like yesterday, but so I'm going into people's profile, I'm clicking on comments, and then I click show all. And
Yes.
then I click and I start selecting, and I scroll down and select a whole bunch of posts that this connection has commented on. Now I copy and paste that into ChatGPT and ask it to make a list of the topics
Mm.
that this
Sure.
person is commenting on. So
Hmm.
now here I've got a list of topics to write about to attract the attention and interaction and engagement from this type of client. So my thinking is combine this with Notebook LM, go to make a list of really great prospects, go in, copy paste all of their comments into one big document or maybe multiple documents, and then feed that into Google LM, and I will have a huge sort of source library of people and topics that I can now provoke get little bits of insight and information about.
Yeah.
So I've been struggling hard on LinkedIn, even though I've been doing a lot of work making content. I'm not getting much of a response, and I'm really excited about this because
Yeah.
it seems like it's
Yeah. Content creation and getting traction is really hard. It is no joke. I've seen it myself and with clients. Okay. You know, you know me, Bill. I always have a critical
please,
thinking
that's why, yeah, that's why I talk to
response.
you about this stuff. You're
Here's
always
my thought about
raining on my
that.
parade.
Yeah, I love to rain on people's parades. I don't love it actually. I don't feel it doesn't feel
No, no,
good.
you point out
Always
necessary
like
things, though.
I'm
Please.
always like, where can I poke the hole? Okay, so first off, I want to say I think that is a good tactic. I think you should do it. It may yield like some really interesting
All
topics,
right.
and also just coming up with new topics is always helpful.
Yes.
And it seemed like a good way to do a meta-analysis, right? Okay. Potential problem of something that might happen depending on your sample size,
Hmm.
because I'm not sure how many people we have in mind.
We'll see. Yeah.
But I think that the potential logical fallacy here is that we're assuming people are commenting and interacting on posts because they are interested in the topic and the content of the post. However, it could be that your agency owners are more focused on interacting and engaging with posts that are made by people they want to sell to.
Hmm.
And it may be more of a networking thing for them than like
Right.
a content consumption thing.
Hmm.
Depends on the type
Very
of comments they're making, I think. You could probably do some kind of analysis of
right.
like, did they write three sentences or did they write, you know, great job? And
Hmm.
or were the comments positive or were they more like
Good point.
challenging them? Do you know what I
So
mean?
maybe my prompt will need some criteria about their response to the post. Did
Yeah.
they re just say great job? Did they reply with sentences? Stuff that gets more
Yeah.
engagement might be worth my attention. That's a really good point that I had not considered at all. So thank you.
I think there's probably a way for you to kind of like create a rule or notice some pattern around what
Right,
is a networking engagement
right.
versus like an actual engaging with the content
Yeah.
kind of comment.
I mean,
But
this kind of thing is really gonna
it's interesting.
create a deeper knowledge understanding of how things are working on LinkedIn. And
Yeah.
I've never really tried to get this analytical with social media before. So it'll be
Mhm.
interesting to see, what I'm going to find out. But it feels like a better direction than what I've been doing. Actually, I've been trying to use ChatGPT's deep research feature
Ooh,
to figure
interesting.
out
What have you
topics.
learned with that?
So what I did was I did deep research feature and I told it to look at Reddit
Mm.
in the last 6 months and find conversations among digital agency owners. What are they talking about? What questions are they
Mhm.
asking? What problems are they solving? And it spit out, what I think is a decent report. I didn't go back and check all the citations, but it looked pretty good. It was a decent um, collection of topics for me to consider. Frankly, a lot of them were topics that are over my head as a business owner and as a web developer. With this new method, I mean, I can keep searching and widen my search scope of people. And I feel confident that I'll be able to find topics in there that
Sure.
I can write about with expertise and confidence and will hopefully help me grow interaction with my
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
it's to me because I've been flailing on LinkedIn
You've
and
been consistent, which I think is
yeah,
a huge tempted to go look at your LinkedIn while we're talking, but that's be focused, stay
please
focused,
go
Joe.
in and like something already.
I know I try. I just don't go on LinkedIn as much as I should probably. But yeah, I've heard a lot about content creation is that like the consistency is really important and that can be really unpredictable when something's going to take off. And I think you're doing exactly the right thing, which is continuing to post and then asking, how do I
Right.
make these better? How do I find it? more interesting topics and you're asking what your audience is interested in. Like all of this stuff, I think is the right approach. It just can be hard. Like
Yeah.
we're at the whim of, in some
Right.
sense, the algorithm,
Yeah.
and there is some amount of randomness as far as like trying to, not because you're not even choosing the right topics necessarily. I think what's hard about it is that everybody is writing
Mm,
on stuff. And um, what else are people on your audience list seeing? And you don't really know what other
mm,
blog posts are
right.
going to come out on that same
Mm,
day or whatever. So I'm wondering if there's like a Google Trends type, if there's meta-analysis of what is out there and what is being talked about. Because I've always approached content creation more from the content gap side.
right.
Like whenever I see whenever I'm getting the same question a lot from people and I
Right.
want to be able to just send them an article that actually gives my viewpoint as opposed to like whatever's on Google, which might not be what I particularly want to emphasize. But I've also sort of, whenever I've been looking for the answer to something and I cannot find it, then I make it my mission, like try to
Yeah.
create that post. You know what I mean? And those have done well, but usually it's small wins because if there's
Mm,
nothing written about it so far, it's usually because there's a
right.
small demand.
Yeah.
But when you're, when you don't have traction already, small demand is like
For
a
sure.
building block. So yeah, that's a lot of what I talk about in like
Mm,
keyword research stuff with
mm,
people who are just getting started with SEO. It's like you're not going to win. Like it doesn't
yeah.
matter if you move from number 50 to number 40. Like that doesn't do
Right.
anything
Right.
for you. You need to move from number 5 to number 1. Like,
Right.
and maybe it's for a small amount of views, but like you're working on it. You're getting there.
I've generally, for most of my business, been guessing on a lot of things, and I'm trying to change that. So I'm trying to make business decisions based on more data, and I feel like AI is giving me an opportunity um as a small business owner to actually generate my own analysis and analysis of my data, or even data that's online like LinkedIn profiles or Reddit
Yeah.
threads. So there's lots of information out there that's waiting for me to come and grab it and extract value from it. I just have to find, this LinkedIn comments have been there for the last year when I've been working my butt off searching, in vain, trying to find topics that anyone cares about. There they've been, lists of them for every
Yeah.
single person. Why didn't I think of this? Why didn't I see this? But I'm amazed and excited about it now. I feel like I've just been given a guide. I've just been given a map, and now I just have to follow the map to get where I want to go.
Cool. Well, I'm excited next week to hear your
Yeah,
report back on how it went and what the topics are.
yeah,
And yeah, I've actually been thinking more about what you've been saying lately before this came along, which was
yeah.
more like getting actual customers in a Zoom chat and being like, what do you care about?
Mm,
Would you read this article?
right,
Would you read this article? Haven't acted on it yet. And yeah, that kind of reminds me of like, yes, we can do data analysis, and sometimes there's analysis paralysis.
right.
So that's why I'm applauding you for posting every week because
Yeah,
sure, analysis is great, but you also just need to have like experience over time and
yeah.
like actually
And
do it and
I'm
actually put
seeing
content out.
momentum growing. Like, I get followers now, even when I don't post, which was not the case a year ago. And I think it's because even though I'm not necessarily posting with high frequency every week, my old posts are still
Are
there in
still in there.
circulation. Like, I
I'm
feel
looking at
like
here.
lately I haven't been posting as much. I only posted once this week, and it was today on Friday. But
Mhm.
yet, when I talked to one of my agency partners yesterday, and he was like, Bill, I'm always reminded to call you because I see you popping up on LinkedIn everywhere. And I
Right.
was kind of sitting here thinking, oh, I'm lazy. I haven't posted that much in the last couple of weeks. But to him, he says I'm everywhere.
Yep.
So I think the consistency is helping there, because even when I'm not actively posting, I'm still getting a little bit of exposure. And every now and then, a post will like kind of come back from the dead. Like a post from a year ago will suddenly get a
Sure.
couple of likes. And then that day it'll get, 300 impressions. But I mean, on the whole, my impressions and engagement are tiny. but it's growing. So I'm optimistic, but I've been feeling I was losing steam because it feels like I'm telling stories no one's listening to. But now Remy gave me
Hmm.
this new tip. I'm like rejuvenated and energized again and ready to, you know, I have fun making content and
Yeah, we've talked about
believe
this too. Like there has to be some new thing to keep you
right.
engaged and keep you excited about what you're
I have
doing
to be
because it
excited
can
about
feel
what I'm
a lot.
doing on some level.
Totally.
And
It's normal.
there's been a lot of content that I've done where I was excited. I did a guide for businesses to prepare for their website redesign. And
Mm,
I was super excited about it because I've worked with clients that have had difficulties when we worked together because they weren't prepared as a
yeah.
company for what I needed from them for the project. And I thought it was a top-notch content for my clients and they really needed it. And I was excited, like I was enthusiastic and happy to write it. It got like no, it's weird. The things I
Yeah.
think are the best get the least engagement, and then I will do one random little comment about some news article, and that just
Mm.
will get, 10 times as many, or maybe not, maybe
Well, a
2 times
comment
as
is
many.
different too. That's engaging. I
Yeah.
mean that, and I've done social media stuff or, because we do like peripheral digital marketing kind of implementation for our clients. And like a lot of times there's engagement side. Like it's not just putting stuff out there. It's also like going and, recently did some for a
Right.
nonprofit nearby. And I just part of my process was like, sure, we got to put posts out, but like we also have to like follow local accounts and follow, oh,
Mhm.
we have a visitor. Sorry.
Well, that's
Um,
good content.
yeah, because is it just it's a two-part plan. You got to
Yeah,
publish stuff and you got to engage with stuff.
I
That's how
agree.
I think.
And you're right. I think that one of the strategies, like you were talking about before, is to go in and find the people you want to work with and interact with them, break the
Yeah,
ice, try to form a relationship.
because
I'm
they're
not
doing the same thing as
right,
you. They're trying to get likes and comments on their
right.
posts. And if they see that you're like supporting them, that's something free you can
Yeah.
do. That's just a
And
really nice thing to
I've
do
found as
anyway.
I've been on LinkedIn and commenting, more or less every day, or at least reading comments, there's people there that I've connected with that like I like them and I want to help support them and I see that they help support their friends. So like I'm looking out for people like that, people that are trying to lift up other people and lifting those people
Yeah,
up. It's productive and it's not even, I don't mind if they don't come back and like me. Um,
sure.
it's it's me to help other people because we all are depending on each other.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
it draws on a lot of other things in marketing too, that like, you and I both have done a lot of in-person networking to grow our businesses. And it's like, you just never know when those things are going to pan
yeah.
out. Or with my, the BNI near me used to always say like, well, first she used to say it's like a get rich slow scheme. And she also used to just talk about how it's hunting, it's farming, like,
Right.
and that is how it is. Sometimes I'd be like, oh, I don't want to go to this up thing. I don't think it's going to be useful. And then boom, like that's the time that somebody decides they want some big website
Right.
project. And you have to kind of spread out your
Yeah.
attention and nurture relationships. And not every single one is going to come in
Right.
to you in a meaningful way, but you
That's
know,
okay.
and and like another marketing thing that's been true forever is like there's a certain number of touch points you need to
Right.
build. You need to have seven. I think people say seven, but like
Yeah.
depends on the business. But you can't just like have one conversation with somebody and then you
No one's
leave.
buying from the brand the first time they see it. Yeah.
Exactly. And like again, going back to the idea of like BNI or some similar networking event, it's like the whole point is that it's a regular contact and it's repeating like interactions. Then every time you see that person again, you're top of mind. And the LinkedIn is a smaller impact, but a smaller effort too, way of
Yep.
just constantly putting your in front of that person like you said with that person who you're like, I haven't been posting in forever, but they're seeing you
Right.
all over the place and they're just
Yeah.
remembering that you exist and thinking of you. And if they're already open to using your
Yeah.
services, then
And I also think, like I said, I've been posting on LinkedIn more or less regularly, once a week at least, for about a year. And
Mm.
while I'm not seeing much engagement in recent months, I've started to see some of the people who I've connected with like a year ago or months ago dropping a like or a comment. Not a lot, but a little. And I'm
Mm.
like wondering, I'm thinking what Kevin told me, he's seeing me everywhere. Maybe these people have been seeing me everywhere for like a year. They
Yeah.
haven't interacted yet, but even though they don't know who I am or really have a big reason to trust me, maybe seeing my name there and seeing that, like, well, at the very least, he's someone who's showing up here. He has a message and he's putting it out. Maybe they're giving me a chance after they've, you know, grown a little familiarity with my name and my
Exactly.
profile picture.
That's what I was going to say. I was saying you're starting to become like a familiar face, and that's probably making a big difference.
I don't think it hurts. Yeah,
Can't
I mean,
hurt.
I bullish on LinkedIn in the long run, even though I've been discouraged as of lately. It's a database of clients,
Yeah. I mean, I use it a lot, but I am a lurker,
right?
which is not ideal.
Yeah,
I like to kind of vet and I like to kind of research and get a sense, a lay of the land through that. That just informs,
sure.
how I approach people and um, what things I choose to do in a more like interpersonal way. What networking event I'd like to go to, who I might reach out to
Hmm.
for a one-to-one or something. So,
I've been on LinkedIn since 2010, and I
eh,
probably posted 20 times in the 10 years before 2020. Like, if
sure.
you look back there, you'll see like one post from 2015 and then nothing for like years, not even a comment.
Yeah.
So that's how I've been too. I'm not really, I don't like social media. It's not intuitive to me to enjoy it. And I really don't like seeking approval from other people.
Hmm.
I'm kind of like, I'll just go do my own thing. But here I have to, I'm seeking approval from other people, or at least attention.
I mean, I think that is a hallmark of our digital age with the attention economy and everything. And I think that's a lot of what people have criticized about social media, especially for young, like teens and stuff, is that approval seeking. And
It can be
it's a
unhealthy.
problem for sure. And bringing that into your work life, ugh. That being said, being in a networking group in person, it's not like there's no need for
Right,
approval
right, right.
belonging there.
Yeah.
It's just it's less performative maybe just
Mm,
because people can't control their image as much.
yeah,
It's less staged,
right.
I feel.
Yeah. If you're meeting someone once a week for years, you're gonna
Yeah.
get to know at least some things about them.
The mask will crack
Right, right.
regularly, I
Yeah.
think.
So based on my interactions with social media pros,
Yeah.
they are stressing. And back when
Mm.
TikTok went down and then came back, like um a couple of social media businesses on my LinkedIn feed, they said they closed up. They gave
Mm.
up because they spent so much time building for their clients just to have it all go away. And it scared them. And I think those people are very stressed. They're being asked to do a lot more work than
Mm.
is reasonable. And
Mm.
yeah, so I social media stresses you out, and people who work in social media have to really work hard not to let it stress them out. And I too, but I mean, my engagement is generally low. Most I will spend is maybe an hour coming up with a piece of content, and then during the day, randomly when I'm eating my lunch or taking up for a minute, I'll go on LinkedIn and drop some comments. But if you're spending a lot of time and you're really focused on like trying to go viral or something, I think it's maybe not the best thing for your brain because it's something you can't control, and now you're changing what you're doing to please other people. So I think it requires some care.
Yeah, I mean, I think all these things like social media, AI, a lot of the topics of like the modern era tools
Right,
and paradigm shifts, they have not had as much, we as humans have not had enough time to adapt
right,
and really learn the pitfalls. And some of that stuff probably will just become the new norm. And there's a
right.
lot of things like that like cars, right? Cars are becoming an older technology, and we have a lot of climate change issues. The sedentary lifestyle, if you
Right?
drive a lot,
Kids don't
car
even want driver's
accidents.
licenses now.
What's that?
Teenagers don't even get driver's licenses now. Like when I was a kid,
Oh
you
yeah, it's not
couldn't
as
wait until you were 16 so you could drive. Now kids
mhm.
don't care because they like
Other
staying home and texting. They
yeah,
don't
that's like
want to
other
drive.
technology has come and taken.
Yeah,
But like, I guess what I'm trying to say is like, the rate of deaths from car accidents is pretty high. That wasn't even a thing before cars came along. Sure,
right,
there were kinds of accidents that are no longer happening, but like
right.
we've just adjusted. We've integrated this into our collective psyche, and it's not something that people are outraged about anymore. But I mean, people are still
But we
outraged about
are
some of these
gonna
things,
live
but not
through the
as much.
transition. We're gonna be here for the transition, and
Hmm.
I think it's gonna get a lot uglier before it starts getting better. I mean, this
Yeah.
upsets how we work. It
Yeah.
upsets, I mean, the concept of skill is being disrupted. The ability to learn something
Well,
and have that be and be compensated for it is a risk here.
yes and no. I mean, we've read this and we disagree a little bit. I think it's a shift more towards management than tech. Like, okay, E-Myth, we know the E-Myth. There's the technician, the manager, and the
Right,
entrepreneur. I think the technician part is probably going to take a hit. The amount of work for technicians is probably going to take a hit. That's what I think. Although there could be new fields opening up.
right.
But I think it's going to be a shift, not as much because again, the skill needs to come from somewhere.
That's
That
right. But I feel we're overlooking that. No one's using Stack
well,
Overflow anymore.
are
What's
they not?
ChatGPT?
Are they
No.
not though? Is that based on data, that statement?
Are you kidding me? Stack Overflow is publishing, going out, is talking about it.
Oh,
They
really?
publish their
I like
traffic stats. It's a
way less.
fucking
It
slope.
has not been long enough though. And also like
Okay,
Maybe Stack Overflow needs to adapt. Do you know what I mean?
fair.
They have
Now,
not.
Stack Overflow obviously has the ability to create an AI based on all the information they have, and I'm sure that, I mean, I
Sure.
know GitHub already did that. That's what Cursor is.
Yeah,
Um,
but like if ChatGPT learned from Stack Overflow and then Stack Overflow goes away, then where is ChatGPT going to learn from?
that's what I'm
Like
saying.
that's what you're talking about, but like there's going to be a reaction at some point, right? Like
We hope
something
so.
will
If people
happen.
are rational, yes.
Well, even if they're irrational, let's just imagine they're irrational. Like what
Okay.
would happen then?
Then they will only go to ChatGPT to ask coding questions, and no one
And
will
then chat,
go and help
yeah,
people by asking and answering questions person to person.
okay. But like, so then when ChatGPT stops knowing the answers because there's no information to teach it,
Okay.
then what's going to happen?
Okay. Yeah.
In the scenario that you're describing, what would happen
You would go to Stack
next?
Overflow and beg.
Okay, so we hope that Stack
Okay.
Overflow does not go away and then we have to deal with this crisis. Maybe it will, but then there's going to be a new market hole.
Okay.
Somebody's going to come in and fill
Okay.
it. That's usually how it goes. I agree with you that disruption, unpredictability, all this stuff, it's not super good for like humans in business
Right.
sometimes, but it usually eventually it goes
Oh
like
yeah,
this. And
it's gonna settle. We're gonna be
yeah,
okay.
it's gonna
It's just like,
settle. The
but
further away we get from the introduction of the disruptive
we
technology,
settled after the Industrial Revolution, but
yeah,
man,
we
it
talked
was
about this.
rough.
Yeah, it was rough. So it could be rough for a while.
And
I
we are
agree.
gonna live through, I mean, this
I
I don't want to be one of these guys, saying crazy things, but this could well be more transformative than any other event in human
Sure,
history.
sure. It
We
could.
are here for it. And in a way, we get to participate in how people respond to it. We have a
Yeah.
voice right now. And like when you look on LinkedIn, the stats on LinkedIn, only actually, I think it's less than 1% of people that are on LinkedIn are actually posting and commenting
Yeah.
actively. So if you're on LinkedIn in
Like me,
2025
not
and
posting
you
it.
got anyone listening to you and you're saying anything, you are here one of the very, very minority of people that can participate in a way in this societal conversation about what's going to happen with
Mhm.
AI. Now, I'm
Out.
saying that we have a
Yeah.
voice. So it's like imagine you were someone back in, when the wheel came out, I don't know, there's no analogy. In 2025, you and I have the ability to be heard by society. And I mean, in a way, my point is that, you know, people who are exercising their voice in places like LinkedIn and other places are taking part in a conversation, which is one that's necessary for us as a country, or maybe even as a species to have, to figure
Right.
out how we deal with and respond to AI.
Yeah, sure. I agree.